Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here at the workbench. And today's topic is on shooting boards and shooting board planes. Now, I made this shooting board. It looks like a bench hook, but it was supposed to be a shooting board. It was an abject failure. So it's become my sharpening station, which we'll talk about later. But I wanted to point a couple of things out about shooting boards. Now, besides the fact that you want your shooting board to be square, your back fence should be two things. There should be a sacrificial part, and it should be adjustable so that you can correct any out of squareness, or if you actually need to plane something out of square, you want to be able to adjust it. So that's number one. Number two, as a bench hook, my planes that I decide to use for shooting will have to ride on my workbench. Okay? And the iron rubs on the workbench and it leaves marks. Not a big deal. I can put a piece of protective material underneath it and it will glide and it will not mar the bench. The other thing, a flat shooting board is highly inefficient. It should be raised by some degree, 5 degrees, 7, 12, 15, some degree, because that will allow for easier cutting and it changes the angle at which the blade from your plane cuts the wood. Now, as to planes, I forgot to get one out here. So, in theory, any plane can be used as a shooting plane. The conventional wisdom says to use lower angle planes. So what's lower angle than a block plane, correct? So if I take my block plane, I should be able to use it as a shooting plane. Correct? Correct. Can anyone tell me what one of the major downfalls of using the block plane is? One of the biggest downfalls. I mean, it's not that it can't plane end grain, it can. And it does a lovely job. However, I need to get something. However, it is missing something very important. Now, I wanted to make sure I quoted the information correctly. So, in physics, there's something called the quantity of motion or the quantity of movement, okay, which translates out to momentum. And what is momentum? Momentum is mass times velocity, all right? Speed times mass, okay? How fast you can push a heavy object. So, block plane, number 6. Which has more mass? Number 6. Okay. So, even if your blade is super sharp, as a shooting plane, a block plane is a bad choice. What about a low angle jack plane or a low angle smoother? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that whole low angle thing. 12 degrees, 25 degrees is 37. And if, like most people, you put a little bit of a secondary bevel on there, you're already up to 40 or 42 degrees. Well, that's not much different than a bevel down plane at 45 degrees. So this is my number 3. Can you use a number 3 as a shooting plane? Absolutely. Here again, there's no momentum. So that would carry through for a number 4. And now you get up to a number 5 or 5.5. Now we're starting to get some momentum. Okay? And it's perfect shavings. But we take the number 6, you're talking a bigger cheek, bigger body, it's sitting there proud. You get yourself a good grip. Give it a little more blade. See that? Once you get that plane started, it doesn't want to stop. So it makes the cutting actually easier, and it's a smooth cut. So here's another thing bad about this particular design. You see, I get the tear out in the back here because I don't have a sacrificial board. So one of these days, Walter is going to have to build a shooting board. So I hope this helps someone. The bigger the plane, the more the mass, the easier the cut. And now you can see on my workbench, I now have black streaks from the iron body. Any questions? Leave them down in the comments section. Like, subscribe, and share. And head out to your shop and double check what you're using as a shooting board and think about how you could correct it. Walter out.